Hey NFL fans, before we dive into today's hottest stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update from NFL News Now. The Philadelphia Eagles are heading into a matchup against the Green Bay Packers that might define not just their season, but the future of one of their more intriguing signings in recent memory. Josh Uche, the $2 million acquisition who was brought in after the offseason departure of Josh Sweat, is staring down a crossroads game that could determine whether he remains a part of the Eagles' plans beyond 2025. The expectations for Uche were clear from the moment the ink dried on his contract. He was meant to help fill the void left by Sweat and add depth and explosiveness to a pass rush that had seen better days. So far, the early returns have been promising, even if not spectacular. Uche has primarily been a rotational player, coming off the edge to provide bursts of pressure and creating havoc in moments when the starters need rest. His contributions have been steady and, in many ways, quietly effective. The stat sheet tells part of the story: 17 tackles, 3 quarterback hits, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and a pass deflection. On the surface, it's solid but not flashy, and in the NFL, sometimes solid just isn't enough. Yet those who have watched him closely, especially analysts from Pro Football Focus, see the bigger picture. PFF has ranked Uche 11th among 110 edge rushers this season, awarding him an overall grade of 84, a mark that highlights his consistency, versatility, and ability to disrupt offenses even when he's not ending drives with sacks. He's also generated 20 quarterback pressures, a number that speaks volumes about his ability to get into the backfield, force hurried throws, and generally make quarterbacks uncomfortable. Those pressures, while not always translating into sacks, are the type of contributions coaches dream of. They're the invisible work that helps the Eagles' defense function at a high level, even when the highlight reels aren't showing Uche celebrating in the end zone. But the storyline around Uche is far from straightforward. Despite his effectiveness, the numbers that catch the most attention, sacks, aren't piling up. The Eagles, recognizing that Uche isn't yet the elite pass rusher they need him to be, have taken steps to shore up the edge. Brandon Graham, a veteran with a resume that speaks for itself, was coaxed out of retirement with minimal persuasion, a move that underscores the Eagles' urgency in maintaining a pass rush that can intimidate quarterbacks week in and week out. On top of that, Philadelphia traded a 2026 third-round pick to bring in Miami Dolphins edge rusher Jaelan Phillips, a player expected to be a dynamic presence on the field immediately. Phillips' arrival adds another layer of competition that Uche will have to navigate if he wants to cement his role in the rotation. And then there's Nolan Smith, whose return from a triceps injury could further complicate matters. Assuming Smith comes back healthy, he's expected to slot right back into the starting lineup, pushing Uche further down the pecking order. The implication is clear: with Phillips and Smith occupying starting roles, Graham and Jalix Hunt will likely get priority in rotational snaps, leaving Uche in a position where he has to fight for every moment on the field. It's a scenario that tests not just talent but mental toughness, resilience, and the ability to seize opportunities when they appear. This upcoming game against the Packers isn't just another regular season matchup. For Uche, it could be the defining moment of his season and, quite possibly, his tenure in Philadelphia. If he performs well, if he makes the kind of impact that can't be ignored by coaches and front office personnel, he could secure his place on the Eagles roster beyond 2025. If he falters, the combination of veteran presence and high-potential acquisitions might mean that his time in Philly is limited to a single season. It's a high-stakes situation that underscores the brutal reality of the NFL. Talent alone isn't always enough. Timing, opportunity, and performance under pressure are equally vital. Uche's challenge is clear. He has to demonstrate that he belongs in the mix with Phillips, Graham, Smith, and Hunt. He has to prove that his contributions aren't just statistical footnotes, but essential components of a defense that wants to compete at the highest level. What makes this narrative so compelling is the subtle tension between Uche's performance and the perception of his value. Coaches see the pressures he generates, the disruptions he causes, and the way he fits into the team's overall scheme. Analysts notice the efficiency and the promise, even if it doesn't always translate to flashy stats. Fans, however, often look at the numbers that headline highlight reels: sacks, forced fumbles, and big plays. Uche's situation embodies this dichotomy. He is effective, respected in analytical circles, and valuable to the team's rotation, yet he's not untouchable. In a league where roster spots are precious and competition is relentless, Uche's margin for error is slim. He's been a consistent contributor, but in the context of an edge rush group that now includes proven veterans and high-upside talents, consistent contribution may not be sufficient to guarantee his long-term security. The Packers game, therefore, takes on a symbolic weight. It's not just a game, it's a proving ground. Every snap matters. Every pressure, every tackle, every moment where Uche can affect the quarterback or disrupt the offensive rhythm becomes a potential argument for why he deserves to remain a part of the Eagles' plans. It's the kind of narrative that makes football more than just a game. It's about opportunity, pressure, and career-defining moments condensed into a single afternoon on the gridiron. Philadelphia's approach to this season's edge rush situation reflects the balancing act that every NFL team faces: managing veteran leadership, developing young talent, and maximizing performance in critical moments. Uche's story is embedded in that broader context. He was brought in with high hopes, tasked with contributing meaningfully, and now faces a crossroads shaped by roster moves, injuries, and the natural competition that defines professional football. The Eagles have clearly communicated, whether intentionally or not, that the room for error is limited. With Phillips likely to start and Smith returning, Graham and Hunt expected to take priority in rotations, and Uche vying for snaps, the stakes are palpable. It's a pressure cooker scenario, and those who thrive under such conditions often carve out long and successful careers, while those who struggle can quickly find themselves looking for opportunities elsewhere. Uche has the skill set to succeed, the analytical backing to show he can be effective, and the flashes of potential that indicate he could evolve into a key contributor. But potential alone doesn't dictate roster decisions in the NFL. Performance in high-stakes situations does, and the Packers game represents precisely that. In the end, this is a story about more than just numbers and stats. It's about a young player navigating the complexities of a professional sports environment, facing competition from established veterans, and seizing an opportunity that could define the trajectory of his career. Uche has demonstrated he can generate pressure, make plays, and contribute meaningfully to the Eagles' defense. He has shown that he can be disruptive and effective even when not racking up eye-popping sack totals. Yet the reality of the NFL is unforgiving. Every player is replaceable, and roster spots are always in flux. The pressure on Uche is immense, and the outcome of this game against Green Bay could reverberate far beyond the final whistle. If he succeeds, he solidifies his place on the team and proves that the Eagles were right to invest in him. If he falters, he may find himself on the outside looking in, watching as others step into the roles he fought to maintain. That's the drama, the tension, and the narrative that makes football compelling. Careers hanging in the balance, legacies being forged or rewritten, all hinging on performance in the moments that matter most. For fans, analysts, and the organization alike, watching Uche in this matchup will be a fascinating exercise. Will he rise to the occasion, demonstrating the skill, poise, and instinct that have earned him recognition from Pro Football Focus and respect from teammates? Or will the combination of elite competition, returning starters, and the ever-present pressure of professional sports expose the limits of his current abilities? The stakes couldn't be higher, and the narrative couldn't be more gripping. In a season full of storylines, this one stands out, not just for what it reveals about the Eagles' roster decisions or the state of their pass rush, but for what it tells us about the unforgiving nature of the NFL and the fine line between success and uncertainty. As the Eagles prepare to face the Packers, all eyes will be on the edge rusher rotation, and in particular on Josh Uche. He has been effective, he has earned his time, and he has shown flashes of brilliance, but the path forward is uncertain. One game, one performance, could determine whether he continues his journey in Philadelphia or whether he becomes another player forced to prove himself elsewhere. It's a moment full of pressure, opportunity, and narrative weight, the kind of moment that defines careers, challenges athletes, and excites fans. Uche's story, his chance to prove his value, and the Eagles' ongoing quest to maintain an elite pass rush all converge in this matchup against Green Bay. The stage is set, the stakes are high, and the spotlight is on a player who has everything to gain and everything to lose in a single, crucial game. The drama is real, the tension is palpable, and the outcome will resonate far beyond just one Sunday in Philadelphia. Keep watching as we analyze more details about some rumors. Big news is swirling in the NFL world, and the rumor mill is running hotter than ever as whispers suggest a seismic shift could be on the horizon for the Philadelphia Eagles. You know the kind of news that makes your jaw drop and sends social media into a frenzy? Yeah, that's exactly the energy we're talking about right now. Myles Garrett. Yes, the elite quarterback hunter who has terrorized offenses for years, allegedly found himself as one of the most coveted free agents in the league, and according to sources circulating behind the scenes, Philly might have just made the play of the offseason. Picture this, a defense that already instills fear, now potentially bolstered by one of the most explosive pass rushers in recent NFL history. The Eagles have always been aggressive when it comes to assembling a defense that doesn't just stop offenses, but completely dismantles them. And if these rumors hold any water, they might be stepping into an entirely new stratosphere. Myles Garrett has been linked to a number of teams ever since his contract situation became public knowledge. There were whispers about Cleveland, naturally, given his long tenure there, but the league has been rife with speculation that his next move would take him somewhere that can immediately contend for a championship. And let's be real, a player of Garrett's caliber doesn't just float around free agency for fun. Every team in need of a dominant edge rusher has been circling, sending feelers, gauging cap space, trying to imagine what life would look like with someone who can single-handedly disrupt a quarterback's rhythm, strip sacks, and turn games around in a heartbeat. And Philly? Well, they've been quietly aggressive, making moves that haven't always made headlines but suggest a pattern of building for the now rather than the distant future. The murmurs we're picking up point to a convergence that could change the entire NFC East dynamic. Now, the Eagles' defense has always been formidable, but imagine pairing their current roster with a player who can consistently create pressure in the backfield, someone who forces offenses to adjust their entire game plan just to account for one player. That's Myles Garrett. Over the past few seasons, he has built a reputation as one of the most fearsome edge rushers in the league, a player who doesn't just get sacks but completely destabilizes quarterbacks. The buzz is that Philadelphia sees Garrett not just as a piece of a puzzle, but potentially the cornerstone of a defense that can dominate the playoffs and, ideally, culminate in a Super Bowl run. There's something inherently exciting about a team willing to swing big in free agency, and the chatter around Garrett suggests this is exactly that kind of move. It's the type of headline that immediately makes fans tweet, post, and speculate endlessly. Basically, the perfect storm for a franchise ready to flex its ambitions. Sources close to the situation have reportedly mentioned that discussions between Garrett's camp and the Eagles have been serious and productive, with terms that could make the deal one of the more impactful acquisitions of the offseason. It's one thing to chase a big name, but it's another entirely to close the deal in a way that reshapes the team's identity. If this rumor pans out, Philadelphia won't just be adding a player, they'll be sending a message, a statement to the rest of the league that they're all in, no reservations, ready to contend immediately. And let's be honest, Garrett has never been a player to shy away from a challenge. His competitive fire, his ability to perform in high-stakes situations, and his relentless pursuit of disruption make him exactly the type of athlete who can thrive in a pressure cooker environment like Philly. The timing also couldn't be more tantalizing. With the NFL landscape shifting constantly, teams are looking for that edge, literally and figuratively, and rumors hint that the Eagles are positioning themselves perfectly. Imagine a defense anchored by Garrett, a linebacker core that can cover and hit, and a secondary that's opportunistic. Suddenly, the narrative around Philadelphia changes overnight. Opposing quarterbacks have to reconsider their reads, offensive coordinators must pivot their strategies, and suddenly every snap becomes a chess match where the Eagles dictate the tempo. And this is exactly why the rumor has fans buzzing, analysts dissecting, and the rumor mill in overdrive. Garrett's potential presence in Philly isn't just about sacks. It's about the entire ecosystem of pressure, chaos, and momentum that he brings with him. Of course, with any big-name player, the chatter isn't purely positive. There are always questions about fit, scheme compatibility, and how locker room dynamics will evolve with a new superstar entering the fold. but the reports circulating suggest that both sides are optimistic about the alignment. Garrett reportedly sees Philly as a place where he can maximize his impact immediately, a team that matches his competitive hunger and desire to win at the highest level. For the Eagles, the potential addition of a game-changing pass rusher is a tantalizing prospect, especially as they look to cement themselves as perennial contenders rather than fleeting playoff participants. The rumor, if true, indicates not just a transaction but a statement about the type of culture Philadelphia is trying to cultivate, one where elite talent is brought in to complement existing stars and elevate the team as a whole. And let's not forget the fan perspective. Eagles fans, already known for their passionate support and occasionally fiery reactions, are reportedly in a state of electric anticipation. The possibility of Garrett joining the ranks adds a layer of drama and hope to the upcoming season. Fans are imagining those highlight reel moments, the quarterback pressures, the turnovers, the entire defensive unit humming like a well-oiled machine under the guidance of someone who's consistently proven to be a nightmare for opposing offenses. Social media posts, comment sections, and fan forums are lighting up with discussions about scheme fit, potential pairings with existing stars, and the way this could change the team's trajectory. There's a palpable sense of excitement, mixed with the cautious optimism that comes with any rumor that hasn't been officially confirmed but feels tantalizingly close to reality. It's also worth noting the broader NFL context. Teams across the league are watching this situation closely because a move of this magnitude doesn't just affect the Eagles. It sends ripples throughout the league. Salary cap implications, defensive schematics, and even the psychology of rival quarterbacks. All of this could shift if Garrett does indeed land in Philadelphia. The rumor has been picked up by insiders and analysts who are treating it with a mix of skepticism and intrigue, noting that the league has a way of surprising us, but also acknowledging that the pieces seem to be falling into place in a way that makes sense for both Garrett and the Eagles. If it happens, it could very well redefine the landscape of the NFC and make Philadelphia an even more formidable contender. So here's the bottom line. While nothing is officially confirmed, the buzz surrounding Myles Garrett and the Philadelphia Eagles is too loud to ignore. Every tidbit, every insider leak, every subtle hint from team spokespeople seems to feed into a narrative where the Eagles are about to make one of the most significant moves of the season. Fans, analysts, and even casual observers are all watching, wondering if this rumored signing will materialize and, if it does, how it will reshape the team's identity, the division standings, and potentially the path to a Super Bowl. There's tension, anticipation, and just the right amount of chaos. The perfect ingredients for a story that will dominate sports news cycles for weeks to come. Keep your eyes peeled, because if this rumor turns out to be true, the Philadelphia Eagles just might have pulled off one of the most electrifying free agent coups in recent NFL memory, and Myles Garrett could be the name on everyone's lips as the season approaches, ready to bring relentless pressure and unforgettable plays to Philly. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fellow NFL fans. Stay tuned for more updates, only here on NFL News Now.